Sup guys, it's Alex here, and welcome to the February 23rd edition of the Bracketology update. And man, what a crazy week of college basketball crazy weekend of college basketball that we had. I made it appointment viewing to watch that Michigan versus Ohio State game, and man, it did not disappoint. Potentially game of the year. I don't know what else would stack up to it right now, but I mean, that game was fantastic to watch. No shame in losing for Ohio State. They played a fantastic game, very impressive to watch. I know I have a lot of Michigan and Ohio State fans that don't like it when I put them in the Final Four, and a little bit more on that here in a couple seconds. But Ohio State just didn't have that big bruiser down low that could compete with Hunter Dickinson, and that's going to be something that you have to take into account when you're filling out your bracket, seeing who Michigan's opponents are throughout the course of the tournament. Because, I mean, Hunter Dickinson was the difference maker in that game. He was just destroying down low. Michigan was getting tons of second chance, third chances, even fourth chances down low with offensive rebounds and stuff. I mean, it was just impressive. I mean, Ohio State shooting kept him in it. Dwayne Washington, I think, had 30 points or something like that. It was a fantastic game. But what I wanted to mention about the one seeds is that there haven't been basically all number one seeds in the Final Four since 2008, which is 13 years. And so it is very highly unlikely that all of these number one seeds are going to make it into the Final Four, which means that I have to take that into account whenever I'm filling out my bracket, which also means I don't know how I can take Gonzaga and Baylor out of the Final Four at this point with all of their brackets and just being undefeated. So that means either Michigan or Ohio State, in my opinion, will have to get upset on the way to the Final Four because, I mean, they're clearly the top four teams. All these top four seeds are number one seeds for a reason. But somebody has to lose before the Final Four, and I mean, we'll see who that is. It's just the way that college basketball works. It's always upsets in the tournament. But taking a look here at the bubble, last four buys are Maryland, Louisville, Seton Hall, and VCU. I mean, Louisville got destroyed by 45 against North Carolina. I expected them to struggle a little bit after their COVID pause, maybe lose by 10 or 15 to North Carolina, but not 45 points. Last four in are Indiana, Xavier, Minnesota, Colorado. First four out are Stanford, UConn, Duke, who now has some life after beating Virginia, and then beating Syracuse last night, and then Richmond. And then the next four out are St. Louis, SMU, Utah State, and Georgia Tech. But before I get into my predictions for the tournament, I just want to say thank you guys for all the support on that last video, the last Bracketology with the new thumbnail. Really meant a lot to me that you guys enjoyed the thumbnail. I mean, that video popped off. It has over 3,000 views right now, which is more than any other Bracketology over the course of this college basketball season. So I can't thank you guys enough for all the support on the video. Hopefully this one can get up there in views as well. Probably won't get to the 3,000 that the other one has, but I really appreciate all the support. For the 6,000 subscriber giveaway, we are making great progress here. Since Friday, we've gained over 50 subscribers. If we hit 6,000 subscribers by the Selection Sunday, March 14th, I will be giving away either a t-shirt of your favorite college basketball team or a $25 gift card, whether it be Visa, Amazon, or whatever. We'll work that out. But how you enter is in the description below. All you got to do is take a screenshot of you being subscribed, post notifications turned on, DM me at AlexPrice24 on Instagram, a picture of you being subscribed, the screenshot or whatever, and you'll be entered. I'll send you a message that says thanks for watching, you're entered, all that fun stuff. But yeah, make sure you enter the giveaway. Details on that in the description below. And before I fill out the bracket, I want to show you guys how to get to the bracket. If you type in Excel bracket on Google, this first option right here, this Vertex 42 site, tournament brackets for Excel, it brings you to the 2020 template. And all you have to do is just fill out the teams, change the teams around, and update to the 2021 teams based off of the bracketologies and stuff. So I will go ahead and start here with my predictions. First, we'll have Region 1 of Gonzaga versus the winner of A&T and San Diego, or not San Diego, it's South Dakota. And we will go with Gonzaga, obviously winning that one. Then we're going to go with Loyola Chicago here, moving on past Loyola Chicago again, San Diego State. Then we're going to have Purdue moving on past Toledo. And then I'm going to go with my first upset, a huge upset here, a 13-4 upset of UC Santa Barbara over Texas. A couple of years ago, I think in the last tournament, I correctly predicted a 13-4 when I picked UC Irvine to beat Kansas State. So the precedent has been set for me being right and picking a 13-4. But I think that UC Santa Barbara, they're on a 12-game winning streak or something like that at this point. I think they're 16-3 overall. They are a hot team right now. They're getting votes for the top 25 in the AP poll. They're in the other receiving votes category right now. And Texas has been struggling a lot recently. I think they've lost 4 of their last 6 or 5 of their last 7, something crazy like that. And then Courtney Ramey and Andrew Jones were having a big argument on the bench during that loss against West Virginia, where they blew a 19-point lead. So they are struggling right now. I think they're ripe for an upset from UC Santa Barbara. I'm going to go with Missouri here, moving on past Seton Hall. They will get a victory in the tournament. I've talked enough about them over these last couple of bracketologies. Florida State will move on past Eastern Washington. Colorado will beat Drake, and then Iowa will beat Grand Canyon. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, we got Gonzaga moving on past Loyola Chicago. Purdue, I think, will be able to beat UC Santa Barbara and move on to the Sweet 16 as a 5 seed. Florida State will move on past Missouri, and then Colorado will lose here to Iowa. So then for a spot in the Elite Eight, we have Gonzaga moving on past Purdue. Then I'm going to go with Florida State here, moving on as the 3-2 slight upset over Iowa. I believe in Florida State's defense. I believe in that program with Leonard Hamilton. They were a Final Four contender a year ago. And Iowa, though they've won like 4 in a row or something like that at this point, they had lost 4 out of the last 5 going into February. I think they have the best offense, or one of the best offenses in the nation. I'm not going to declare them the best offense, but they also have the National Player of the Year in Luka Garza. But if Florida State can shut them down, which I believe they can, I think Florida State can get the victory. But then they'll lose to Gonzaga. Gonzaga is going to move on to the Final Four out of Region 1. So then if we go over here to Region 2, we're going to have Baylor moving on past the winner of Wagner and Prairie View, A&M, obviously. Rutgers, I think, will be able to beat North Carolina. I still believe in Rutgers, but they are not looking too good right now. Then I'm going to go with Belmont pulling off the upset over Wisconsin. I did it in the last bracketology. I'm just going to keep doing it as well when these two teams are paired off. Belmont's like 23-1 this year. Wisconsin is kind of struggling. They're about to fall out of the top 25 if they haven't already. I believe in Belmont. They are a fantastic team this year. And then I'm also going to go with another upset here, another double-digit 13-4 with Western Kentucky over USC. This one is a 50-50 toss-up to me. I mean, USC has a really good player in Evan Mobley, potential top 2 pick right behind Cade Cunningham. Western Kentucky has a fantastic player in Charles Bassey. He's going to be a first-round pick. But then Western Kentucky had beaten Alabama earlier this year. Western Kentucky has proven they can beat these top teams in the power conferences. I like another upset there with a 12-13 in the second round. Then we're going to go with Virginia Tech here, moving on past VCU. Houston moving on past Liberty. Boise State pulling off the upset there, 10-7 over LSU. And then Illinois moving on past Sam Houston State. Then Baylor will beat Rutgers to move to the Sweet 16. I think that Belmont will end up beating Western Kentucky as much as I want to pick Western Kentucky to win that one. Then I'm going to go with Virginia Tech pulling off the 6-3 upset over Houston. I haven't really believed in Houston over the course of this year. I mean, I picked them in the Final Four, I think, one time out of like the 20 bracketologies that I've done. And I just believe in Virginia Tech more to pull off the upset there in a 6-3. Then Illinois will beat Boise State. Then we have Baylor moving on to the Elite Eight, along with Illinois moving on past Virginia Tech. And then you guys know how much I love Illinois. But every time they run into Baylor, I just got to pick Baylor to beat them. I think Illinois is a Final Four team, but not whenever they're paired up with Baylor. So I'm going to have Baylor here moving on to the Final Four out of that region. Then if we go down here to Region 3, we're going to have Michigan moving on past Texas State. Or almost said Ohio State. Oklahoma State moving on past UCLA. Creighton beating Wichita State, along with Kansas beating Colgate. Then Arkansas, I think, will beat the winner of Indiana and Xavier, which I think would be Indiana. Oklahoma will beat UNC Greensboro. I do think that Louisville can pull off the upset there in a 10-7. I think they'll right that ship in time for the tournament. And then Villanova will beat Siena. Michigan will move on here past Oklahoma State. These two teams played in like the first round of the 2017 NCAA tournament, and I got to watch that game in Indianapolis. That was a fun one to watch. Michigan will win there. Then I'm going to go with Kansas here, moving on past Creighton. I know these two teams played earlier in the regular season, and I think Kansas won by like 4 points there. Then Oklahoma, I think, will be able to handle Arkansas, along with Villanova beating Louisville. Then Michigan, I think, can beat Kansas here to move on to the Elite Eight, along with Oklahoma falling to Villanova. I believe in Oklahoma just as a Sweet 16 team, not too much further. I mean, they could prove me wrong. But then if we go for a spot in the Final Four, Michigan and Villanova, a rematch of the 2018 National Championship game, I'm going to go with Michigan. Winning that one. I think that they can beat Villanova, which means all you Ohio State fans are throwing your arms up in the air because you know what this means. Out of this region here, I think this is just going to be a crapshoot. I have no idea who's going to come out of this region. But before I get into the region, we got to go with our food item of the day. We are going to go with a chocolate chip cookie. One of my favorite cookies, right behind sugar cookies. I do believe that sugar cookies are the best cookie out there. But overall, I'm sure the nation would probably pick chocolate chip as the majority. So comment chocolate chip cookie if you're watching at this point in the video. It's like 9 minutes and 45 seconds, something like that. And if you don't like chocolate chip cookies, just comment your favorite cookie. How about that? Comment a sugar cookie if you want. Comment an oatmeal raisin if you're a freaking maniac and like oatmeal raisin cookies. But then over here in Region 4, let's go ahead and get back to making our picks. Ohio State will move on past James Madison. Oregon, I think, can pull off the 9/8 upset over Florida. Texas Tech will move on past the winner of Minnesota and Colorado State, which I think would be Colorado State. Virginia will move on past Winthrop. Then we got Tennessee beating St. Bonaventure. Tennessee's been falling off recently. They're 5-5 out of their last 10 games. West Virginia will move on past Wright State. Clemson, I think, will fall to Maryland here, another 10/7. Have a lot of 10/7s in this bracketology. And Alabama moving on past UMBC. Then we're going to have Ohio State here moving on past Oregon into the Sweet 16, along with Texas Tech here moving on past Virginia. Texas Tech has lost 3 in a row. I know I have to address that since I love Texas Tech. But, I mean, they're all you can't really have a quality loss, but, I mean, none of those losses really worry me. They played fantastic in all those games, but still struggled shooting. I think that they can right those shooting struggles. I think they are a really good contender to move on further into the tournament. We're going to have West Virginia here moving on past Tennessee, along with Alabama moving on past Maryland, which sets up Ohio State and Texas Tech in the Elite Eight. Oh, I really want to pick Texas Tech here to pull the upset of 5/1. Man. I mean, I am shocked. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it, though. Texas Tech pulling off the 5/1 over Ohio State. I believe in Ohio State a lot more than I did earlier this year. But, I mean, it's just the principle of having only like 2 or 3 number 1 seeds in the Final Four. I got to go with Texas Tech pulling off the upset there. And it's just a team that I believe in. Like, Illinois and Texas Tech are just 2 teams outside of the 1 seeds that I really believe in. And then I think that West Virginia will be able to beat Alabama. I know I've been picking Alabama a lot out of this region recently, which sets up Texas Tech versus West Virginia. These 2 teams have been playing great basketball whenever they run into each other. Big 12 rematch here for a spot in the Final Four, and I am going to go with Texas Tech. I know West Virginia just won a couple of weeks ago whenever they played last, but I just believe in Texas Tech. I think that game had gone to overtime or went right down to the wire or something like that. I think if Texas Tech can right these shooting struggles, I think they can make the Final Four. And a couple of years ago, Auburn made the Final Four as a 5 seed. That's where Texas Tech finds themselves right there. So we have Gonzaga versus Texas Tech here for a spot in the championship game. We're going to go with Gonzaga winning that one. Then we have Baylor and Michigan. Why not let it fly? Why not switch it up and go with Michigan pulling off the upset over Baylor? I mean, Baylor's coming back from their COVID pause, I think either today or sometime this week. I think that Baylor might be a little bit rusty, and I think if these 2 teams were to play today, I think Michigan could pull off the victory. Why not go with it? Maybe it's an overreaction, I don't know, but let's have Gonzaga versus Michigan in the national championship game. Gonzaga, I think, would still come out the victor there, but having Michigan in the national championship game is a nice change of pace for my recent bracketologies. So there we have it. Those are my predictions for the tournament if it were to happen today. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you comment your own predictions in the comment section below. Comment the food item that I mentioned about 4 minutes ago or something like that. Let me know what you guys think of my predictions. Make sure you enter the tournament giveaway, and I will see you all later.